Hi everybody. Hello. Today it's quite late. It's just coming up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the end of November, so it's quite dark, dismal. So I'm hoping it's going to be bright enough in here to do a little film. But I wanted to show you a few techniques on how to do snow. So I've got 4 sections here. We're going to look at how to use salt, splattering, lifting, and just using brushes. And I'm going to first of all just take a Chinese brush or a wash brush or something like that, wet it in clean water. I have 2 pots, one for cleaning my brushes and another for mixing my colours. I'm just going to pick up a dark blue. Now you can use an ultramarine, but I'm just going to use an indigo or a phthalo blue, mainly because the technique will stand out better. And I'm just going to put this down on the splattering section. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can let this dry off, because I need to splatter on top of it. And onto the lifting section. Now I'm going to do this in 2 sections. I'm going to put one section down here because we're going to learn how to lift off snow on already dry watercolour, and then later I will re-wet this and lift it off on wet watercolour. And then on the brush section, I'm just going to fill this in. It's just quickly. I mean, if you're doing a proper painting, then obviously you would put your wash down a little bit more carefully than this, but it's just test sheets. All right, so then what you want to do is let that dry. So the first technique is salt, and I'm going to use 2 different types of salt here. Now you need to do this on wet paint. So again, with my Chinese brush, I'm just going to put down blue. I'm going to do it in 2 sections like that. And what we're going to do is on the first section, I'm going to use normal table salt. So depending on how big your salt cellar is, we're going to put this salt on here like that. And then on the second one, I'm going to use some sea salt, or you can try some rock salt. It's much coarser than other types of salt. So what will happen is you'll get larger marks for your snow. Now this feels a bit damp actually, this salt. I think it's been in a damp drawer, so it might not work if your salt is damp. The idea is that the salt absorbs the wet paint, which is why you have to do it while it's wet. Okay, but we'll just see how that works. You leave the salt on until it's completely dry. Don't move it with your fingers, don't touch it, don't move the paper, because that will affect the way the salt absorbs the colour that's underneath it. Okay, so this was sea salt, and you can use any kind of salt. You can even use dishwasher salt, and this is just normal cooking salt. And you know, depending on what sort of snow scene you're creating will depend on which size of salt you use. You know, a light flurry and this would be suitable, heavy snow and this would be suitable. Okay, hopefully you've got some salt to play with. If you've got a variety of salts, then test them all out. Test them on dark colours to begin with, and then you can see the real effect. It tends to be if you use a yellow or something like that, that the effect is not very strong. And you don't have to use salt for just snow. You can use salt for sort of small flowers on in fields like poppies or something like that. You can use the larger grains for rock formations or other kinds of foliage. but what you must do is obviously remove the salt before you paint your colour. So if you're going to do this as a poppy field, for example, you let it dry completely, remove the salt, and then just go in very gently with some red watercolour. Okay?